7 o'clock. Before we begin our proceedings this evening, I'll ask for our invocation to be delivered by Pastor Charlie Martin of the Erlanger Christian Church.
Would you pray with me? God of the past, God of the present, God of the future, we seek your presence in this hall. We seek your presence and guidance by touching those who are the elected and appointed leaders of this city. We seek your presence among all those that bring business to this hall tonight. May all that is done and said and decided here be seen as acceptable to you and fair and just to all. We pray in your most holy, loving name. Amen.
Amen. I call the January 14th, 2014 special meeting of Erlanger City Council to order. Ask that we all stand and pledge the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Ms. Hoffman.
Mr. Longshore.
Present.
Mr. Burke.
Here.
Mr. Dunhoff.
Here.
Ms. Skidmore.
Here.
Ms. Sudkamp.
Here.
Ms. Pitts.
Here.
Ms. Kyle.
Here.
Ms. Cahill.
Here.
Mr. Cahill. Mr. Brown.
Here.
Mr. Blankenship.
Here.
Mr. Howard.
Here. We have a quorum. We may proceed. You should have received copies of the minutes of the regular council meeting on December 3rd, 2013, as well as the special council meeting of December 17th, 2013. Are there any corrections or additions to be made at this time? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to be adopted as presented. Motion by Mr. Longshore, second by Mr. Burke. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Special day here in Erlanger. I have a co-mayor for a little bit. Miss Brittany House is a student at Lloyd Memorial High School, and I would like to read a proclamation, which was read over the PA system to the entire student body at 10:35 this morning. I made it on time, and given the fact I'm still learning how to get in and out of my new van, that was a remarkable feat. But this is a proclamation by the mayor of the city of Erlanger, Kentucky, to all to whom these presents shall come. Whereas Brittany House began her academic journey in the Erlanger-Ellesmere School District at Arnett Elementary School. Later, she transitioned with much success to Tishner Middle School and finally is a fighting juggernaut at Lloyd Memorial High. And whereas Miss House is celebrating her senior year at Lloyd, her achievements have earned her 2 nominations for the Juggernaut Award. Ms. House has been on the honor roll for multiple semesters and is part of Lloyd's school-based scholars program. And whereas Ms. House is an engaged student, active in extracurricular activities, she has shown leadership and school spirit as captain of the cheerleading squad, community involvement as member of the Gold Rush, and talent as a member of the honor choir. And whereas Ms. House was entered into a reward drawing and was chosen as mayor for a day. She was recognized by several Lloyd staff members for her act of kindness in helping a teacher and for her professional, welcoming manner when answering the phone as a senior office aide. And whereas Ms. House is an exemplary student and role model, we commend her on her achievements, values, and camaraderie. In appreciation of Ms. House, the City of Erlanger would like to celebrate her accomplishments. We congratulate her on being named mayor for the day. Now, therefore, I, Thomas L. Rouse, Mayor of the City of Erlanger, Kenton County, Kentucky, do hereby proclaim January 14th, 2014 to be Brittany House Day in the City of Erlanger, and do commend this observance to all of our citizens. Given under my hand and seal, the City of Erlanger on this, the 14th day of January 2014, and can I present to you all Mayor Brittany House. We started the day off at Lloyd, and then I kidnapped her, with Mr. Fields, and we brought her over here. Actually, we went to lunch first. We went to Frisch's and had lunch. That's better than school lunch, I'm sure. And then, I hope, anyway. And then we brought her over here, and she spent a period of time with the administrative department. She spent a period of time with Chief Whitaker over at the firehouse, and she spent some time with the police department. I think she even got involved in the firearms training that's taking place out here, and had a great day. She will be assisting me in going through the agenda. We love these partnerships with our local schools, and Brittany is an absolute sweetheart, so we're glad that we have her here with us today. First, we have a second presentation. Chief Ahrens.
I'm going to ask Officer Ed Bailey to come up here because he's got a little history about how this program got off the ground. This is a great example of a partnership developed between the community and the police department. I want to ask Officer Girdler and ASCO to come up here, and Linda Krivitsky. Give you a good incident that happened about 2 or 3 weeks ago with ASCO. You know, a canine's only as good as his handler, and a handler is only as good as his canine. Both of these individuals are new at this job, but they did a tremendous job of tracking a robbery suspect over at Super Bowl. Someone was robbed and they took off running, and ASCO showed up, and from the point where it was robbed, tracked him all the way to the door to the apartment in Centonia. And it was an excellent job for such new canine and a new handler. And I think they've bonded very well together, and I think we're going to see a lot of good accolades in the future with them. I'll let Ed explain how we developed a partnership.
This is I've been an officer for 26 years. This is the first time ever in my career where the community has approached the police and said, we want to partner with you on something. We want to help you. And it was at our police night out in August at the flagship park. I was approached by this young lady here, Linda Krivitsky, and her husband, Wayne, and we were talking about some of the events we have going on. We had a SRT van, we had some other things going on, police cruisers. And then she asked me if we had a canine. I said, yes, we just had one retire, but we just bought one, and he's being trained along with a brand new officer for canine, but we don't have him right now. And she's a dog lover, and she expressed that, and she said, does your new dog have a vest? And I said, I don't think so. And I checked around, and no. We had some expired vests that were like 8, 9 years old, and these vests have a lifetime of 5 years. That went right to her heart. That's what set her on fire to partner with the City of Erlanger Police and to get this wonderful canine a vest. And with that said, the floor will be hers.
Well, I wasn't expecting the floor, but Mayor Rouse and distinguished members of the City Council, I love our city and I love our police department. Ed Bailey has been tremendous. I can't say enough about Officer Girdler and ASCO. When I found out about vested interests 3 years ago, it touched my heart because I'm an animal lover. But I also love our police department. And for us vested interest in canines to be able to provide a vest for ASCO is just the most amazing thing that I've ever been a part of. And if it weren't for my wonderful neighbors in Brightleaf Estates, they all came together and we raised the money. And it's just a great bunch of people. We're very proud to be a part of this city. And I can't thank you and the police department enough for everything that you do for us every day.
Thank you. It's my understanding that puppy dog went right to the door over in the apartment and sat down and said, He's in there. And by golly, he was.
If the bad guy wrote a note and left it on the door, it could have made it any easier.
Well, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
That is
And while we're getting resettled from this, I'll also let you know, Ms. Krivsky and other folks in Brightleaf, Sherborne, Lakemont, the villages of Doe Run have been very active contacting our highway department about trying to get a light at the intersection of Brightleaf Boulevard and Turkeyfoot Road, and by God, we got it. And if anybody's ever tried to get out of that area of Erlanger at 8 o'clock in the morning, you know how badly that's needed. So thanks again to Linda and all of our neighbors for that, as well as everybody who's been involved. We've been working on it for 8-9 years, so it's great news. Okay, do we have anybody here from the school board tonight? Please go to the presentation.
Kathy's back.
I'm sorry?
Kathy's back.
I don't see Kathy. Where is she? Oh, there you are. Hi, Kathy. It's your turn.
First of all, thank you for recognizing Brittany. She's a wonderful young lady, and we're so proud of her. We appreciate you allowing her to be the mayor. I'm sure she's done an excellent job.
She's doing great. I have nothing to worry about.
Before we have some information to share, but before that, I also wanted to thank you for the information you're sharing in your newsletter. We appreciate that partnership, and we're trying to share city news in our newsletter, and we appreciate you all sharing our school news in your newsletter, and so we do receive that, so thank you very much. We're here this evening to talk to you about a town hall meeting that we're working with the Erlanger Police Department through Chief Bob Aarons, and also the Ellesmere Police Department through Police Chief Tim Thames, and the community. We're going to be having a town hall that is sponsored by Kenton County Alliance, and it's going to be focused. We brought some flyers. It's going to be a discussion about heroin and the use of other drugs in the vein of talking about prevention. We know that heroin and other drugs are an issue in all of northern Kentucky right now. We see it in the papers. And so we're trying to do our part to work with the community to educate students, to educate parents, and to work together with the local organizations to do all we can to educate and also provide support or at least referrals to people who may need help. So with that, I have Mary Birch with me, and she's going to share a little bit about the agenda, and also I'll let Lisa talk as well.
Good evening. Kenton County Alliance is a community of volunteers that work to help affect the substance use among our youth and ultimately among our adults in our community, not only within the city of Erlanger and Ellesmere, but also within the whole county of Kenton County. I know Renee Skidmore, she's a member of our alliance, and we appreciate her input. And we've worked on this planning. There's a planning committee that's been meeting to set up the town hall meeting to help educate everybody on that. So some of the things that will be happening, we have a moderator who is Joe Webb, and then Mr. Riemann and Mr. Gillis are going to do a little talk on how it affects the schools and some of the policies and procedures there. We also have some local law enforcement going to be doing a little discussion, and then also Judge Ken Easterling is going to talk about how it affects the judicial system. We have some personal stories from some people who have been affected by experiences with substance abuse and recovery. And then we also have some resources on for medical issues and treatment issues. And our main focus, of course, is on preventing and how to prevent our youth from abusing and using substances. So I'm hoping that we have a good turnout, because I think it's going to be a very educational session. So I hope you all come and learn a little bit about it with us. And we have a lot of resources there available for people who have been affected by it. Lisa England is the new coordinator for Kenton County Alliance, and I think she's a familiar face to you all in Erlanger. So we're looking forward to you'll see more of her around. Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy. Mark, you ready to go down there with our award? You got him? You just all right. You weren't here yet.
Take a 2x4.
That's okay. Our first Erlanger Service Award recognition goes to an extremely valuable member of the City Council who has extended family, long-time ties to this body, and it's my honor and it's my privilege to award the 5-year pin to Council Member Shane Longshore. Thank you, Matt. All right, thank you. Missy, you gonna do Rodney? It's time.
Well, it's my pleasure this evening to present this 15-year pin to Rodney Snow. He was originally hired in 1999 as the administrative maintenance worker / custodian, and later on he was promoted to the building maintenance technician. Rodney does a whole lot more than just building maintenance. He also assists the public works in their snow removal and our parks and recreation with just about any event that we have. It's a pleasure to work with Rodney, and I want to say congratulations.
It's my privilege, Rick Bogart, 20-year pin tonight. I'm going to say this, I've been in this position a very short time, and before I get into everything that Rick's done here, I want to tell you the past 3 months have been a pleasure having Rick by my side and taking on new duties as he helps me through this job, and I appreciate that. I want to say thank you. Rick started here in 1993, I don't know, as a codes administration specialist. And then in 1997, he was the superintendent of public works and the safety director. And then in 2007, he got promoted to the director of public works. Rick holds an associate's degree in fire science from EKU, a bachelor of science degree in fire and safety engineering technology from EKU. It was a mouthful. Yeah. He's a deputy state fire marshal prior to coming to Erlanger. He was a firefighter in Richmond, Kentucky. He's a certified fire inspector. He followed his dad and his grandfather's footsteps. They were firefighters as well, I believe. His grandfather was inducted into the Kentucky Fire Chiefs Association Hall of Fame several years ago. I didn't know this until the other day when we were talking to Rick, and he was telling me something about his early childhood, how he had a dream of being a rock drummer. Yes. And luckily he gave up that dream and he came here to work for us. He is a certified building inspector. He's a past recipient of the Northern Kentucky Area Development District Outstanding Public Works Employee of the Year Award. And I know Gretchen's sitting back there. Every 5K race that the city puts on, Gretchen drags Rick to it. Yeah. And to every event. I believe a couple weeks ago, your son Dylan and your wife and you went and shopped with the cop. So that was great to see it there, everyone. And let me tell you, he serves on the safety committee. Chairs it, the vehicle committee, the Cleanup Erlanger committee, our salary committee, and anything else we ask him to do. Rick, thank you very much for your 20 years.
Thanks, sir. I just want to thank the mayor and council and everybody just for the opportunity to serve the community. Mr. Viox, you're just a great guy to work with, and you always learn the history of Erlanger when you're out with Mr. Viox. My wife and my best friend, I love you, and then my team. Our public works team that we have here in this city is second to none in this Commonwealth. And what they give each day when they come into work is just awesome, and it's great to be a small part of it. So, thank you.
Chief Ahrens, we have two.
Mark, did you give me your bio? You've been here for so long. 25 years? Is this 25 years? 26? Mark Jolly gets his 25-year pin today. He's been here 26. Hired back in 1988. Mark served as a patrolman, served a stint in the detective's office. He was instrumental in starting in the SRO program over at Lloyd High School and Tister Middle School. And Mark is known throughout the department as rumor control, because if you have any question about what's going on in the department, you ask Mark and he'll tell you, because he knows. I was hired just right after him. We come up to the ranks together, and pleasure to introduce you to your 25-year pin. Congratulations.
Speech.
I would like to thank council, except that none of you were here when I was sworn in, except for Mr. Wickman and Mr. Viox. That was the only two. We was talking about that earlier, and I said they were the only two that was on council. At the police department, Mark Fields, Scott Abney, and Todd Rice was there, and Lucy. At Public Works, nobody. And at the city building, I believe Dave Hom was it. So it's been a while, but thank you very much.
Not a bad softball player. Second one is Dave Leonard gets his 10-year pin, and I was told just a few moments ago to thank Patty Seckamp for his hiring, because evidently they had some connection that got him in here. Dave's got over 20 years of dispatch experience, some with Kenton County Dispatch Center and some with the Artemis before he came to us. He's been with us for 10 years, and right now he holds the title of actually overseeing operations of the dispatch center. So congratulations on a 10-year pin, Dave.
I just want to say thank you to the mayor and council. It's been an honor to work for the city for the last 10 years. I truly appreciate all the opportunities I've been given. Thank you again. And to Patty here, some of you can blame her. I thank her. From earlier, I don't regret it either. Thank you.
It has, finally, as an addition to our special presentation, it's been a tradition here in the city that whenever there are candidates for countywide office that have a direct impact on the operations of our city with police, fire, rescue, that the candidates are welcome to come and address City Council. We have two such candidates here tonight, both running for Circuit Court Judge, which will have an opening when Judge Marty Sheehan retires. The first person who got here earliest, so she'll go first tonight, is a former Erlanger resident on Birch Drive, Kathy Lape. Kathy, the podium is yours.
Thank you, Mayor and council people. I'm still an Erlanger resident.
Good.
First of all, I want to thank Lyndon Wayne for first getting the vest for ASCO and second for the light. I'm a mother of a young teenage driver, and I've got another one on the way, and I am very glad to have that light there. I've lived in Erlanger most of my life. I grew up here on Birch Drive. We used to call it Maywood Subdivision. I still reside in Erlanger with my family in Brightleaf. I've been an attorney for 22 years. I have a general practice. I do bankruptcy, criminal, domestic, estates, criminal, and a little civil law. But most importantly, I'm the only candidate that has served on the bench. In 2008, I was appointed by Governor Steve Beshear to serve on the Kenton District Court. I served there for 9 months. So I appreciate your vote. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me or visit my website, kathylape.com. Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy. The next candidate's another longtime friend of mine, Kate Malloy. See, I've been practicing law longer than both of them, so they're all puppies to me.
Thank you, Mayor Rouse.
You're welcome.
And City Council for allowing me to talk to you briefly tonight. My name is Kate Malloy. I'm a practicing attorney here in Kenton County, and I've been practicing law this week 30 years with the firm that I'm with, and it's the firm of Arns and Malloy, Storm and Turner in Covington. I'm a lifelong Kenton County resident and a graduate of Chase Law School. And prior to practicing law, I worked for the Kentucky Court of Appeals as a staff attorney reviewing cases from the circuit court that Kathy and I are running for. It's an open position. There are 5 candidates in the race, and the circuit court is a very important court to the county. It's the court of general jurisdiction, and it's the primary trial court. And I have 30 years of experience practicing in circuit court. And with the additional 3.5 years with the Court of Appeals as a staff attorney, I reviewed a lot of cases from the circuit court. So I think I'm uniquely qualified for that position. And I appreciate also the opportunity to speak to you, and if anybody has any questions, feel free to give me a call, and I'm sure I'll be seeing a lot of you on the campaign trail over the next few months. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. Those are the end of our special presentations. Now it's time for the mayor's report. I'll keep it. Brittany, you don't have a report tonight, do you? Okay. I will report to you that our new leadership team is in place, and it's humming. We are rethinking plans. We're examining how we do things. We are looking at procedures and policies. We're trying to become better at what we do. We're trying to become more efficient at what we do. We are finding cost savings as we do this, which is going to be helpful. The city is operating at a high speed right now. And last time I talked with Greg, we were within or under budget. Revenues are better than we had projected, so all is well there. As we start this new year, this of course is an election year, and we welcome anyone to come in and scrutinize what we do and how we do it, and offer ways to maybe improve things. We're always looking for new ideas, and so we're an open door, we're a transparent government, we are your government, and we welcome any kind of input that you all have. I am, as you all know, I am also serving right now as president of the Kentucky Bar Association. I am halfway through my term, and all the hard work's over. I've traveled to 5 of the 7 Supreme Court districts to attend to Kentucky Law Update programs, and the biggest job now is to keep things calm and under control for the next 3 meetings until I become the best office that there is, past president. But we're working very diligently on our convention, which will be held in Covington around June 18th. And we'll be bringing thousands of lawyers to Northern Kentucky, and we have some great speakers. We've got Larry Sasabato at the University of Virginia, who does crystal ball prognosticating on elections. We have Dan Abrams, who's ABC's chief legal correspondent. We also now signed up Brad Melzer, who is an author who's written lots of neat things, including the Book of Fate. And he's also an attorney. I think he's a Columbia School of Law. So we're making great progress there. I bring that up here tonight to let you know that I have been flying lately. And I've been moving around, and I will leave Thursday to go to the Board of Governors meetings for Thursday and Friday, and then after we get done with our meetings in February, I go to Chicago. I won't know what to do with myself this time next year. I can't wait. It'll be a blast. Well, one of the good things we get to do when we're in this position here at the city and the mayor is we get to partner with our schools. We have done things, with St. Henry Elementary School, even though they're in Ellesmere, it doesn't matter to us. We've worked with St. Henry and St. Henry High School, which is now in Boone County. It doesn't matter to us. We recognize them. We also work as much as we can with the Kenton County schools, where I live in Sherborne, out in the Brightleaf area. Most of those students attend the Kenton County schools. Some they can come to the Erlanger schools. Most of them are there. We work with them. And we also work with Ms. Burkhart with the Erlanger-Ellesmere Board of Education quite a bit. which made it really easy when I received a phone call from Mr. Kellinghouse, who's one of the guidance counselors at Lloyd High School, and said, as a reward, not a punishment, we would like to offer a student a chance to be mayor for a day. And I said, oh, really? How do they get that? And they get that by being nominated by people in the school for having done good things, great things, and then they'll decide what they want to do, and if more people want to be mayor for, I guess he could be lunch with Mr. Riemann, the principal, or, I don't know, work in the kitchen, or whatever the rewards were, but a lot of people wanted to be mayor. So there was a drawing, and Brittany won, so she's here with us. At this time, then, I am going to turn this portion of the agenda over to the mayor today, Mayor Brittany House. You ready? Go right ahead. Here.
Okay, so next we have the reports of the standing committees. First, we're going to have from Public Safety, Police, Mrs. Sudkamp and Mrs. Pitts.
Thank you. We have several things to report. First, we'll start off with 2 resignation letters. So I'll start off with
2 what?
2 resignation letters. Chief Ahrens, I'm writing this letter to inform you my last day with the Erlanger Police Department will be 1/6/14. I appreciate the opportunity that former Chief Fields and you gave me when I was hired back with the department after I retired. It has been an honor to work with the members of the Erlanger Police Department, Officer Daniel L. Fern. The other one is, Chief Ahrens, it is with some anxiety as well as excitement that I tender my resignation of employment with the Erlanger Police Department effective January 3rd, 2014. I appreciate the opportunities the department has given me and hope you feel the same in regards to my years of service. Sincerely, William McGowan. We also received some letters. I'll just go ahead and read one of them here. Dear Chief Ahrens, I want to thank you for your support of the Kentucky CIT program. With the addition of local police instructors, we've been able to increase the number of CIT training classes we offer each year. This translates into approximately 30 additional officers trained for every class added. Specifically, I want to thank you for allowing Officer T.J. Selby to participate as an instructor in the CIT classes in Northern Kentucky. He just completed teaching his 2nd CIT class. Officer Selby brings professionalism, competence, and passion to the classroom instruction. He is part of a teaching team and as such participates in pre-class and post-class meetings and discussions to ensure the training runs smoothly. In conclusion, Officer Selby represents the Erlanger Police Department in an exemplary manner, and I'm honored that he is part of the Kentucky CIT teaching team. Respectfully, Denise Spratt, Director of Kentucky CIT. Patty has a few more.
Here's a letter that the police department received from Phil Tolliver. His son, apparently his car broke down, and officers Lemming and Brendel and Kyle Rader helped him out. And he said that he's very appreciative of their help, and said that Todd trained Philip while he was in school, and Philip thinks he walks on water. I thought that was very cute. And there was another letter that was written from Mrs. Juanita Wood, who lives in Galapagos, Ohio, to Officer Scroggin. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, or Scroggin. Anyway, her daughter was very ill, and she was at the Sweet Basil restaurant, and he called the mother, called paramedics, called the hospital, and she just wanted to know, thank you so much for calling me, but also for being so patient in explaining the circumstances and giving me time to take all the necessary information down. I was quite upset, as you can imagine, but you were very calm and professional. I look forward to getting your report. A huge thank you. Very nice. And here's a letter from the Cold Springs Police Department. Chief Ahrens, I wanted to express my appreciation for your permitting the use of the time and talent of Lieutenant Doug Eagler. I further want to commend Dr. Just made him a doctor. That's scary. I further want to commend Lieutenant Eagler's efforts in the sergeant promotional process that our agency recently went through. Lieutenant Eagler brought a clear understanding of the requisite skill sets that are important to being a first-line supervisor from his experience and as a supervisor and shift lieutenant. His help in determining the appropriate questions and responses from the potential candidates was crucial in the selection process. And it's signed Edward Burke, Chief of Police, Cold Springs, Kentucky. And the chief is in the house.
Wanted to invite everyone, I think next week as a committee member, we have the simulation FATS machine over here. If anyone would like to participate or go through that scenarios and shoot that system there, that if you want to come in before the committee meeting or stay afterwards, let me know, and I'll see that there's an instructor here that to help you walk you through that. Just want to invite you all. Thank you.
Mayor.
Yes. Mayor Brady, I'm sorry. It's an old habit.
I just have one more thing to say. I found out today that Sergeant Jeffrey Miles is back in the States, safe and sound from Afghanistan, and we are just so happy and thrilled, and we're so proud of you. That is all.
Are there any questions? Okay. Second, we're going to have a man from Public Safety, the Fire and EMS, Mr. Skidmore and Mr. Dunlop.
Okay. We just have a couple of things. I'll start off with it. As always, I always read the report that is given to us, but it is always 2 months behind just because of the way the dates in our meetings fall. So this is the November report. The Fire and EMS Department made a total of 223 responses for the month of November, which included 87 fire incidents and 136 EMS patients dispatches. There were 7 reported fires in the city of Erlanger and a total of 80 non-fire rescue events during the month. EMS responses included a total of 101 transported, 3 treated with no transport, and 30 refusal dispatches during the month. And then also, the annual inspections that are required, I'm assuming, and Todd, Chief can correct me if I'm wrong, is that annual inspections required. By the time you get to the end of the year, you have to have 100%. And in November, they were at their, they had done 574 annual inspections, and that was at 87%. So I'm assuming they finished that in December?
They did.
Okay. And then that's all I have. Do you have anything?
I
Jamie?
have nothing. The chief's in the house. Nothing to add.
That's our report, Ms. Mayor.
That's it, Ms. Mayor.
Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, third from Public Works, we have Steve Cahill and Brown.
Mr. Brown.
Mr. Brown.
Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Ms. Mayor. I have a large report here from Mr. Berger. You should have received in your email. I just want to hit a couple of the highlights. We had 20 potholes repaired. It's a big one, so I'm sure there's a few more of those. I know with the snow event, let's see here, report there were 10 dispatched events and utilized 439 tons of salt over 15 dates and 291 man hours. And since we're talking about that, we had a couple pieces of correspondence. First of all, the Kuhn family on Doris Circle wrote a very nice letter commenting how well the roads were taken care of, especially compared to the other cities they had to travel to with their young son for some appointments up in Westchester. And just what a great job our Public Works team did, how well they kept the roads, and how they wish that whole path would have been that way, but getting in and out of Erlanger was easy. And they also noted that it was really appreciated because the weather was cold, it was hard, it was wet, it was snowing, and that those team members had to leave their families and, you know, that this time of year, and so they really wanted to make sure that was noted and thank and make sure they knew that. So that was from the Kuhn family, and we also had one from, let's see here, Gretchen Hartzler on Viola Lane, and there was an icing issue. Sean Zitt was dispatched and took care of that, and she just wanted to write and thank us for his hard work as well. So, and Mr. Bogart is in the gallery. Mr. Bogart, thank you for your 20 years, sir.
Any questions? Okay. Fourth from administration. administration, we have
Mr. Burke, there they are.
Mr. Burke and Mr. Longshore.
Thank you, ma'am. I've just got a couple things. We received our public service check of $87,000 from Duke Energy. And as of December 31st, we've collected over $4 million in property taxes, which ain't too bad. And one more thing, had 76 passports sold in December. And I've got one more thing here on this Commonwealth Station stuff. We've got more stuff coming. So when we receive it, we'll call a committee meeting and we'll go over all that. Ms. Longshore.
I'd just like to request a committee meeting in February regarding some signage issues on Dixie Highway. So
The third Tuesday in February?
That'll be fine.
I spoke up because Mayor House doesn't know about the third weekend.
She does now.
I'll make sure she assigns that.
There we go.
And Ms. Anderson is in the house.
Fifth, we have from Finance, Mr. Howard and Mr. Blankenship.
Thank you. Council should have received a budget calendar for the budget process for the fiscal year 2015. There were some modifications proposed to the system that we've been using the past 5 years. Instead of having a Finance Committee meeting in February to review the preliminary budget, we're going to have a meeting on Saturday morning, March the 8th. And during that meeting, Council is going to be presented a preliminary budget, and there will be a more detailed discussion of long-term city expenditures, particularly in the area of capital expenditures. And the November 2013 financial statements have been emailed to Council sent out this week.
And Greg Engelman's in the house. And a report.
And
I was just trying to throw you for a loop. What was the date on the Saturday?
March the 8th.
Thank you.
And sixth, we have from the Friendship City Networking, Mrs. Kyle and Mrs. Cahill.
Thank you. On Sunday, December the 8th, the City of Erlanger co-sponsored the holiday extravaganza at the Erlanger branch of the Kenton County Public Library. This event wasn't as well attended as most Christmas events, but the only reason being it was a freezing, snowy, icy, the worst day ever that you could have, and still people showed up for this event because it's so popular. Karen did an awesome job getting it together. You can't depend on Mother Nature when it comes to December, and it was amazing that everybody showed up. Santa was there and did a great job, and the kids received activity books and candy canes. And then on Friday, December the 20th, the City of Erlanger held its annual open house for all employees, their families, past and present. The large and small council chambers were transformed into an elegant festive setting for the evening. Chef Baroni and Kroger's provided the main courses, and there were other things, dinner rolls, garlic bread, desserts, etc. And everything was awesome. This was the best Christmas party we ever had. I'm sure it was the best attended. Everything about this Christmas party was just great. Santa Claus paid a visit that evening and listened to the children as they sat on his lap and told him what they wanted for Christmas. Each child received a small toy and a visit. Karen would like to give special thanks to Becky Hopkins for working on the event. I appreciate all her work, hard work, and creativity and input. Thank you to Chief Ahrens, Mike Dancing, and the Police Department for donating drinks. Thank you for Chief Whittiger and the Fire Department for bringing the ice. Thank you to Rodney Snow and Ralph Sidner for help before, during, and after the event. And she would also like to thank Mark Fields for staying late and clean up afterwards. It takes a true boss to know what it's like to pitch in, and he stepped up and did that. And a definite, we need to thank Karen for this great event, and we need to thank her for all the job she's done on the past events last year, and I know she's going to do a great job on the upcoming 2014 events.
Yes, and then I would like to thank our anonymous donor. We did receive an anonymous donation to be used toward a needy family in Erlanger this year. And so that donation, along with the money collected from the Gene Days that our employees have, we netted $1,240 for the year, and that enabled us to give gift cards to the Family Resource Centers at Linneman, Arnett, Miles, Tishner, and Lloyd, and that all went towards helping out needy families. So thank you to our anonymous donor and all the Gene people. Upcoming events. Erlanger Swim Night at Silver Lake Recreation Center will be held on Saturday, January 25th, and that runs from 6 o'clock p.m. to 8:45 p.m. This event is free to all the Erlanger residents, employees, and council. And there's a sign-up sheet at the front desk of the administration office in early January for anybody that's interested in attending that event. And we have Miss Hopkins in the house. And that is it.
Okay. Any questions? Next we have reports of special committees. First we're going to have from the compensation committee, Mr. Fields.
Thank you. Just like to report progress. We are reconvening our committee, employee committee, next week, and we're going to talk about benefits, and we're going to talk about some things that revenue generation and some things like that, and the evaluation system that we're putting in place to get that going. We're now completing the job descriptions. As soon as we get the job descriptions complete with what the new salary bands are, I'll submit them to Mr. Wickman, and so that we can then put it in the ordinance and be brought back to you. So that should be hopefully by the February meeting or latest the March meeting. So, progress.
Any questions? Next from the Friendship Garden Committee, we have Mrs. Suitcamp.
Yes. I just would like to report progress also. I need to sit down and meet with Dave Ron. And I've been looking back the past. It's an overwhelming job. It really is. It's been a long time coming, and we can't ever let it go this long again. It just takes too much research. Afraid you'll miss someone, and you certainly don't want to do that. So.
Okay. You have heard the reports of our committees. Is there a motion to accept the reports present? Is there a second? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries.
I've never said that to a mayor before. You're adorable.
How'd she do, folks?
Oh, she's great.
Taking over the helm again for a few minutes, are there any reports from any of our representatives this evening? Yes.
I have one for Kenton County Alliance.
All right.
I appreciate Dr. Burkhart, Mary Birch, Lisa Anglin. Appreciate you guys hanging around for the whole meeting. I just wanted to reiterate the time and the place of the town hall meeting with the heroin and the other drugs. It's really going to be an interesting meeting. It's at the Dietz Auditorium, which is part of the Lloyd High School complex, Wednesday, January 29th, 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And also, as part of the drug-free alcohol substance abuse, it also includes tobacco. And Dennis Nafis has kind of taken over that area. He's been real instrumental in the whole Kenton County Alliance situation, everything that he's done. But he is asking everybody to make, and if you agree, everybody to make one phone call and then get 5 of your friends to make the same phone call. It is a call to Frankfurt. It's an operator answers the phone, and all you have to say when she asks or he asks what you want is to tell them, I support smoke-free Kentucky. And then tell them that you want all of the appropriate people to get that message. And supposedly that's what they look at. That's the one thing that really makes an impact on them. And that phone number is 502-564-8100. and I've made my call. It's pretty easy. So. And does anybody have any questions for Lisa, Mary, Dr. Burkhart? Do you want to add anything?
Okay, the Kenton County Mayor's Group will meet this Saturday. Mr. Fields, I believe, and I will be in attendance. In addition, the Northern Kentucky Area Planning Council will be meeting next week, and I'll be attending that on behalf of the city. It's now time for reports of city operations. First, our city engineer, Mr. Vias.
Yes, sir. Most of you probably don't know, but I've been serving on a committee for 2 committees for almost 2 years for our street standards in Kenton County. I first served for about a year and a half on the committee with the Northern Kentucky Engineer Society while other groups were meeting, including the mayor's group. And then most recently, after the draft was developed by the Northern Kentucky Area Planning Commission for Kenton County Municipal Planning Commission, I was appointed by the chairman of the Planning Commission to be one of 5 engineers to evaluate their draft and come up with some technical information relative to adopting that street standard. In our investigation, specifically with the Engineers Society, we have determined through some testing, in fact, some of the testing actually occurred in the city of Erlanger on some streets, that there was some significant need to change some of the materials in both asphalt and concrete. But the thing that our current committee, the 5 engineers that are working for the Planning Commission to review these standards, we have determined that there's a significant deficiency in street maintenance throughout Northern Kentucky, and not just in Kenton County, and we're coming up with some recommendations. I've already been working with Mr. Bogard on those, and he is aware of some of those needs, and they will be probably reflected in his budget request this year. In regards to the streets themselves this year, the 2 terrible deep freeze days we had last week, Monday and Tuesday, along with the amount of freeze and thaw we've had this year and the wet conditions, we expect to have more street deterioration than we have experienced in the last few years. We also, if you notice when you've ridden around town, you see a lot of holes in the street that have been excavated. There's been utilities that have frozen, specific water, and there will be a significant amount of that going on. We've already been notified by the Water District that there's a number of streets in Erlanger that are in need of some water main replacements that have because of the frequency of the breaks that have occurred. We're working with them to try to schedule their work to coincide with our street maintenance program so we don't have to have neighborhoods torn up twice while we repair utilities and then turn around and do street work. So with all that said, we're working that with Mr. Bogard, and we hope to have a lot better information as we proceed in the next couple of years. Thank you.
Any questions of Mr. Vias? Next is our city attorney, Mr. Wickman.
I have nothing, Mayor.
Any questions of Mr. Wickman? City administrative officer, Mr. Fields.
Well, I do have a couple things. This past week, we signed a new contract for our short-term and long-term disability policies and our life insurance policies. And we did do some changes to the elimination time period before employees go on those. Doing that, and we got bids from 3 different companies, we were able to save about $7,000 a year on our premiums. So Missy, I believe, signed those papers Monday. So that goes into effect the 1st of January, so it was retroactive back to January 1. It was another win for us. Dispatch contract, I know I reported on it last month, hoping that we'd have it back here again. I think we have. Greg and I met with them several times and worked out everything. I believe it's in their court waiting to come back to Mr. Wickman's court. So as soon as we get it back from them, we'll send it to him, and hopefully it'll be a done deal. Also, we had our cleanup committee meeting, and we're still working on the rental unit license ordinance that Mr. Wickman's working on. Came in, the committee made a few recommendations about some changes. Those are in the process of being made. hopefully we'll get those back and look at them and hopefully have something to you very shortly on getting that instituted. I know Ms. Hopkins attended a meeting last night in the city of Covington. It was very informational about some of the things that they're doing. They have actually started a rental court. Is that what it's called? A landlord court. So we're going to be looking at some of the things that our neighboring cities are doing. Also maybe to add on to this at some point in time. But that was pretty interesting when that came up, so the committee may want to talk about that. In my weekly report, or bi-weekly report as they've become now it seems, to you all, I have, we've talked about the evaluation process and what's going on with that. We've started it. Let you know the old evaluation will be used. We had our department head meeting last week and we gave till March 15th to have those completed. So at March 15th, since we had all the new changes and leadership inside the departments, we figured it would give them enough time to do that. Those will be done and those will be in the mayor's hands by the end of March for the old one. The new one will hopefully be created and implemented July 1. And what we're going to do is go from, instead of going from calendar year, we're going to try to go to the fiscal year, since that'll coincide with the budget, and some of the things that are budgeted departments can't get done because they're not funded until 6 months into the budget. So we're going to move that back. We also set our first meeting for a centralized purchasing discussion. We have found that a lot of the departments are buying the same things, and we're sending several people to go get these things at the same time. So we're going to try to centralize some of the common purchases between the departments. So we have our first meeting scheduled for next week. I know Greg and Steve have began working on the whole purchase order part of what the audit came back talking about. So we're working with the software vendor, I believe, to try to get that back in our software that we're using. Reminder, next week, the presentation, please try to be here. We need your input, as far as what we're going to do and the direction we're going to go with the IT. So please try to attend if you can. And also, the mayor and I talked earlier, and was going to ask the mayor if he would form a committee to study the new building project. We know we've talked to the school board and are trying to work with them and do some things with the firehouse. We know we have some things to do with that. Thought it would be a good idea to have a council committee, a small council committee together to work with us and look through that. So I would request the mayor to appoint one of those before we end tonight. Also, I'd like to thank two people that I know. Missy, Rod was here earlier. A lot of people don't know, Public Works gets a lot of the accolades for the winter, the fire department, the police department, they all get them. There are two people around here that get left out a lot, and that's Ralph and Rod. I'm going to tell you. We had water pipes bust last Monday, and 1 o'clock in the morning, when my phone went off at 4 o'clock in the morning, I knew, I'm not the police chief anymore. Why am I getting called at 4 o'clock in the morning? Then I found out, and it was Rod, and he was here. He was here, and he'd been here since 1 o'clock taking care of business. And I'm going to tell you, the flooding could have been a whole lot worse than what it was. They were both here all those cold days over the winter. The basement, we know how much water we get in this basement of this building. They have spent 12-hour shifts pumping it out. Nobody knows that. They stay down there 12 hours on the weekends pumping it out. I've seen them do it twice now since I've been in this job. So I'd like to thank both of them and let you all know what those two really do. And it's more than what you see. This cold weather, I know Rick used them a lot, to help do some of the things, and they just don't ever seem to get some of the credit that they deserve. So I want to tell them thank you. I know one of them's in the back filming this, I believe. So thanks, Ralph. And that's it.
Any questions of Mr. Felix? You've heard the reports of city operations. I want to turn a motion that be adopted as presented. Motion by Ms. Kyle, second by Ms. Litkamp. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any correspondence, Ms. Hoffman?
Yes, sir. The city received a card from Todd Brendel. He thanked everyone for the support given to his family during a difficult time. He added that it was times like those that make people proud to work for the city of Erlanger. The city received a card also from Councilmember John Dunhoft. He too thanked everyone for remembering his family during a difficult time.
Any member of council have any more correspondence? This is the time we reserve in our agenda for citizens and public comments. Has anybody signed up to speak with us tonight, Missy? Okay, we'll move on to bids. Mr. Viox.
Yes, sir. We took bids a few weeks ago on the concrete street replacement, second phase this year. That includes Lake Street and Edwards Avenue. We had 4 bidders. M&W Excavation Company Incorporated, $219,865. Second one, JPS Construction Inc., at $224,636. Third was TMS Construction Incorporated at $233,539.40. And fourth was Paul Michaels and Sons Incorporated at $238,572. These are all within the range of the numbers that we anticipated. M&W has been a contractor for us in the past, so I recommend we award the work to M&W Excavation Company Incorporated.
Is there a motion to adopt the recommendation? Motion by Mr. Dunoff, second by Mr. Burke. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Any other bids, Mr. Vios?
No, sir.
Any bids, Ms. Hoffman?
No, sir.
Any reports of work in progress? I will appoint that committee. I'll appoint the committee to be Mr. Dunoff, Mr. Blankenship, and Mr. Cahill. We'll advise Tom when he comes back that he's in absence, he got appointed to a committee. But I think he has some tools in his toolbox that will be extremely helpful for us on this committee. Is there any new business for the good and welfare of the city? Okay, any legislation? Yes, we have a municipal order on surplus equipment. Mr. Wickman.
Yes, sir. It's the municipal order that the statute required for the city to dispose of surplus property. The surplus property is identified on the schedule attached to it, and looks like it's all IT equipment.
Yes. That's from dispatch. A bunch of stuff attached to the back. Okay. A motion be to adopt the municipal order. Motion by Ms. Sudkamp, second by Mr. Longshore. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I will sign same, having been duly passed. Okay. That brings us to the end of our agenda. Your term as mayor is up. Give her the hammer. Give her the hammer. Get to entertain a motion to adjourn, so ask him if anybody would like to leave tonight.
Would anybody like to leave?
Ask if there is a second.
Is there a second?
There's a bunch of seconds.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay.
Slam that gavel.
That motion carries.